According to that, it's recording. Okay, now you've already got your steering wheel. You figured out that. You countersunk the screws if necessary on the Allen head screws that you'll probably get from China. The steering wheel is ready. Now you need to remove the old Trafficator wires before you can get the old steering wheel out. So this is what we're going to do. The connections for your turn signals and horn from the Trafficator are up underneath the top lip of your grill. Cannot be reached from above. There's a radiator in the way, so you have to go underneath. Okay, you will see the wires come. This is the harness. Comes up through that way. That's the Trafficator harness wires from the steering wheel. And the connections are here, right here. Okay? Now, in their infinite wisdom, no Trafficator wire color of the wires and the wires in the actual loom for the car are the same colors. And damn near every harness is different. So, what you have to do before you go unplug these 4 wires is make you a drawing, i.e. brown for the Trafficator is the horn, brown with a black trace. On the car itself, that one there that I've undone, it is purple with a black trace. That is horns. That's only one connection. So, before you unplug them, you're going to do this. Make you a diagram before you unplug it. This will help you put it back together when it's time to put it all back together. So you see what I've done. Horn on the car is purple with a black trace. On the Trafficator wiring harness, it is brown B with a black trace. Alright, the center hot for the turn signal power is green darker and green lighter, but it's a green. You're good there. And the right side turn signal control in the car is green and white trace for the right signals, and on the Trafficator wiring harness is green with a blue trace. And on the left signal controls, the car is green with a red trace for the left signals, and on the Trafficator harness is green with a yellow trace. So you know to hook those back up, those bullets, when you get it back through the stator tube. Now, what you must understand, this don't mean crap on your car possibly, because different manufacturers and different harnesses, some of the harnesses have been painted over the wires. You can hardly tell what's what. There are some harnesses that the green would be green with a yellow trace for hot, and green would be green with God knows what. So you may just have to mark them yourself. Don't go by this. This is just for this particular harness and for this particular car's harness, which has been pretty crazy. We didn't install it. It's new, made by dyslexic people, because we found a lot of issues with the wirings going, that's not supposed to be that by the schematic, but that's what they put in this loom, so we're stuck with it. All right, so now, what you gonna do? You figured out where to put it back with what you got. You're gonna get your hand up in here, and you're going to undo your bullets. Ta-da! Now, while that's still there, you can pull it all out. That gives you these. That's always horn, and it's the longest. That's where you'll tie your feed wire. So you got your Trafficator hot, left, right, and horn. Now, what I do is go ahead and get this up and out of the way here. Normally this would be running through the Trafficator, but we've already pulled this through the stator tube. I hope I'm still recording. Yeah. All right, that gives me some slack here. So, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? All right, sorry about all over the place. All right, so here's the deal now. You gotta get this bundle of wires small enough to get through the tube, the stator tube. Now what I do to do that is supposedly, these things are staggered so you can leave the bullets on there and then tape them all up and it'll get through. I've never had luck doing that, ever. So what I do here to make it easier, I leave the longest one for my wire. I cut these off, okay? Then when it comes back through, OEM connections, I buy these, the solder ends. These are crimped on from a factory. You don't have the crimpers, you can't solder them, but these are not. These we just strip and solder new bullets. Yes, you can get them from Moss on the wires after it's back through. Okay, now what do you do when you're running a fish wire? Let's see if we can find it. All right, maybe we can see it from here. Yeah, this one already has a wire through the tube and it has a stator tube on it. Okay, on that stator tube is your lock nut and it's got a compression ring that locks it and holds it in place. And it needs to be locked in place because that also controls on the adjustable, controls on all of them, controls when you lock it down which position your steering wheel, what position the Trafficator is on your steering wheel. So if yours is over there at 2 o'clock where your turn signals is at, that's because you need to loosen that 5/8 nut, turn it in the right location, hold it while a buddy tightens it in that spot, straight up and down, and that'll make it straight up and down. So this one's already got a fish wire, but now it's already been pulled through, but I'll show you how to get ready for it. We've cut those off. All right, you're gonna take, what we use here is welding wire, MIG welding wire. It's good and stiff, it ain't gonna break. You've gotta take this, you've gotta wrap it tight around here, okay? So it won't come off of that bullet. I can't do it with one hand in video, but circle it all the way around and hold it. And then, how you get all this loose stuff back through. It'll go one way, but it ain't going the other. You're gonna take electrical tape, and you're gonna make this. You're gonna tape it up good and tight, so when you pull it through, it stays on. And when you pull it through, you're gonna leave a lot of excess to hook up to the wire you left in the stator tube to pull it back through when you put the Trafficator and all back in, okay? So I hope that makes sense. Now you want to cut enough of this wire to have plenty coming out of the steering wheel and coming out of the steering box. More is better. So cut you several extra feet. So, because you could grab it and it could pull back through and that'd be a nightmare. All right, so once you get it into this position here, taped tight, okay, then you'll be able to take this end and be able to pull it out once you loosen it. I'll show you how to do that in just a little bit. But you've prepared this end Now, with a wire on it that you can feed it back through here at your steering box and leave excess out so you can pull all this back through. You're prepared to pull the Trafficator, okay? So, that's about all I have on that. This one, like I said, this one's been pulled, but it's going back with this new harness. So that's why I cut those, because the old Trafficator is shot. I got to rebuild it and put this new wiring harness on it. All right, so that's with a stator tube that's good and installed. We have one that ain't got a stator tube. So next is going to be, before I jump into pulling this, I'm going to show you how to remove a bad stator tube and tell it's bad, and install it back before you put the wires on, and show you the difference. Why? Because I have them all out on a bench right now. All right, so you've undone all your wires here. You've reached and stretched. Sometimes there's harnesses. You see the double bullets here? Let me tell you something. They're all different. These are double bullets connectors. I can get it up there. And those will be right and left, because the wires in this harness, they show 2 wires for the right, 2 wires for the left side, front and back coming into this harness, so it takes a double bullet. That means your hot's a single and your horn's a single, and it just shorts the ground, so don't have your power on, because if that purple wire hits the ground, your horn's going off. So keep the power off. A lot of harnesses, they do that connection for the front and back elsewhere, and they'll all be single bullets and dirty, and you won't know what color they are, and you can't tell the difference. So just because this one has doubles don't mean yours will. If yours been messed with, it may be hacked up and a bunch of stake-ons on it and twist wires and God knows what. But we'll get back to that. I'm wiring this up with a weird factory correct Trafficator wiring and some Polish made wiring harness here that we've never seen the likes of. But it's new. It just ain't perfectly right. All right, I'll be back in a minute. And you got questions, you know my email. Don't forget to do this. Very important. Or you'll be going, I can't get it to work, homie. All right, so that's it for that right now. You know how to do it. You know how to get that small enough, and trust me, you don't want to be fighting that thing to get this thing through that Trafficator stator tube. And the Trafficator stator tubes, the new ones seem to be even smaller inside. So it's easier to solder new clips. I turn it into this, wire up the longest one, and you get your buddy to help you, because you got to electrically tape this tight. You can't have a knot in there. That barely fits through the stator tube as it is. So you got to start here with your tape and tape it tight so it'll be the smallest possible. Then you can use, if you cut it off, use this as a hook to hook up to your wire that's existing, and you'll be able to pull it back through. All right, so overkilled on that. We'll be back, and I'll talk about the stator tubes. Bye.